Good morning, everyone. My name is Russ Strauss. I'm the president of ROC CORP. Thank you for joining and taking time to review our 2020 annual safety meeting, which is being recorded on Zoom. In the past, this meeting was an in-person evening event with guest speakers and video presentations. This year, due to COVID-19, we have made alternate arrangements to ensure we are able to communicate with you the current state of our company in regards to our safety performance, our safety goals, and our new and revised policies and procedures. None of us could have predicted the current COVID pandemic and all of the challenges that have taken place over the last 9 months, but ROC has met these challenges. I thank each and every worker who has embraced these ever-changing work conditions and worked hard to maintain a safe workplace for themselves and their coworkers. ROC Corp management are staying current with all COVID changes and expect all workers to follow all COVID requirements as they roll out. To date, the expectation is that every worker complete a daily screening questionnaire, wear their mask whenever not in their personal workspace, does not come to work if they have any illness or symptoms, advise their supervisor or foreman of any illnesses or testing taking place, and follow all additional customer COVID requirements. On top of all these new requirements, we still need every worker to work safely every day to ensure we reduce the risk of accident or injury. For the last couple of years, ROC has experienced a couple of very serious vehicle accidents, and ROC management expects every worker who operates the company vehicle to do so safely at all times. To do this and to avoid potential accidents, we need all workers to follow all the rules of the road, do not speed, do not text while driving and only use hands-free devices, wear your seatbelt, be aware of your surroundings, and be a defensive driver. We will continue to track at-risk operators to ensure they are accountable for their actions. This is not only your driving habits, but includes how you represent ROC during your interactions with our customers at their sites and with the general public on roadways. We do not condone or allow aggressive driving, tailgating, inappropriate body language, hand gestures, or any other unprofessional conduct while representing ROC Corp. I and the ROC Corp management team believe we have an extremely professional and knowledgeable workforce who are keenly motivated to provide exceptional customer service. To enhance this, we must individually and collectively embrace a sincere safety culture with a real and dedicated focus on safety by every worker, from new hires to supervisors to management personnel. Our customers demand this of us. I thank all of you, and I look forward to many years of positive health and safety performance. We want all to go home safe to their homes safely and their families each day, each and every day. Thank you. Now, Pat Ash will review the health and safety policy for you.
Thank you, Russ. Hello, my name is Pat Ash, and thank you for taking the time to complete this annual safety meeting module on DUNK. I will be reviewing our health and safety policy for 2021. This is reviewed annually by management and signed by our president, Russ Strauss. Health and Safety Policy 2021. The management of ROC Corp is committed to the health and safety of all of its employees. All management, supervisors, and workers must be committed to the continuing objective of reducing risk of injury. ROC recognizes that all workers have the right to work in a safe and healthy workplace. Management is aware that optimum production and accident prevention are directly related. ROC will make every effort to provide a safe work environment and a work environment that promotes occupational health. All employees must be dedicated to creating and maintaining a safe and healthy work environment at all times. Management is committed to work in a spirit of consultation and cooperation with all workers. Management, supervisors, and each and every worker have the responsibility to protect their own safety and safety of coworkers by working in compliance with the Occupational Health and Safety Act and relevant regulations, as well as the safe work practices and procedure established by ROC, its clients, and general contractors. Through employee consultation and collaboration, we will continue to make improvements in our health and safety performance, which will be measured through our active participation in the Certificate of Recognition Program, CORP. Commitment to health and safety must form an integral part of this organization from the president to the workers. We will succeed by understanding, accepting, and executing our safety obligations in a consistent approach. It is the best interest of all parties to consider health and safety in every activity. At ROC, we believe safety is the measure of success. This policy is signed and dated by Russ Strauss, ROC Corp President. Speaking next will be Kevin Worsley.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin Worsley. I will be reviewing ROC's violence and harassment policies today. The management of ROC is committed to the prevention of workplace violence and is ultimately responsible for worker health and safety. We will take whatever steps are reasonable to protect our workers from workplace violence from all sources. Violent behavior in the workplace is unacceptable from anyone. This policy applies to all employees, visitors, customers, delivery persons. Everyone is expected to uphold this policy and to work together to prevent workplace violence. ROC has a workplace violence program that implements this policy, which includes measures and procedures to protect workers from workplace violence, a means of summoning immediate assistance, and a process for workers to report incidents or raise concerns. ROC, as the employer, will ensure this policy and the supporting program are implemented and maintained. ROC management recognizes that all workers have the right to work in an environment free from workplace violence. All workers and supervisors will receive appropriate information and instruction on the contents of the policy and program. Supervisors will adhere to this policy and the supporting program. Supervisors are responsible for ensuring that measures and procedures are followed by workers and that workers have the information they need to protect themselves. Every worker must work in compliance with this policy and the supporting program. All workers are encouraged to raise any concerns about workplace violence and to report any violent incidents or threats. Management pledges to investigate and deal with all incidents and complaints of workplace violence in a fair and timely manner, respecting the privacy of all concerned as much as possible. Workplace Harassment Policy 2021. ROC is committed to providing a work environment in which all workers are treated with respect and dignity. Workplace harassment will not be tolerated from any person in the workplace, including customers, clients, other employers, supervisors, workers, and members of the public. ROC management recognizes that all workers have the right to work in an environment free from workplace harassment. Workplace harassment means engaging in a course of vexatious comment or conduct against a worker in a workplace that is known or ought reasonably to be known to be unwelcome, or workplace sexual harassment. Workplace sexual harassment means engaging in a course of vexatious comment or conduct against a worker in a workplace because of sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, where the course of comment is conduct is known or ought reasonably to be known to be unwelcome, or making a sexual solicitation or advance where the person making the solicitation or advance is in a position to confer, grant, or deny a benefit or advancement to the worker, and the person knows or ought reasonably to know that the solicitation or advance is unwelcome. Reasonable action taken by the employer or supervisor relating to the management and direction of workers or the workplace is not workplace harassment. Workers are encouraged to report any incidents of workplace harassment to the appropriate person, which could be your direct supervisor or the health and safety coordinator. Management will investigate and deal with all complaints or incidents of workplace harassment in a fair, respectful, and timely manner. Information provided about an incident or about a complaint will not be disclosed except as necessary to protect workers, to investigate the complaint or incident, to take corrective action, or as otherwise required by law. Managers, supervisors, and workers are expected to adhere to this policy and will be held responsible by the employer for not following it. Workers are not to be penalized or disciplined for reporting an incident or for participating in an investigation involving workplace harassment. If a worker needs further assistance, he or she may contact their respective union JHSC, or health and safety representative, or the Human Rights Legal Support Center. ROC will not tolerate any violent or harassing behavior at any times. ROC has a violence and harassment program which includes roles and responsibilities of all workplace parties, reporting procedures, investigation procedures, workplace violence risk assessments for head office and sites. The following are steps to report an incident are: any person who feels that he or she has experienced workplace violence or harassment may take the necessary steps to report these incidents to ROC without prejudice or fear of reprisal. If you believe that you have been subjected to workplace violence and harassment, ask the person to stop. Most times, this is enough. Keep a record of all incidents, dates, etc. If the violent or harassing behavior does not stop, report the incidents immediately to your supervisor and health and safety coordinator. Health and safety or designate shall review the concern and determine if a formal investigation is warranted. If the investigation reveals evidence to support the complaint of workplace violence or harassment, appropriate measures will be taken. These may include disciplinary action up to and including termination. Next speaking will be Dave Strauss.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dave Strauss. I help look after health and safety for the Trademark Group of Companies. I'm going to talk about ROC's safety statistics for 2019 and 2020, as well as our health and safety goals for 2019 and 2020. 2020 and 2021. So you can see the statistics there between 19 and 20. Our man hours are up approximately 10% to 86,000 man hours, and we've had no injuries in 2020. No medical aids, no first aids, no nothing. So that's excellent. And then down towards the bottom, you can see the vehicle accidents: 7 vehicle accidents, 2 near misses, 2 equipment damage, 6 hydraulic leaks, for a total of 23 incidents. So again, excellent performance on the health and safety side. We need to be paying attention to a little bit of our road safety with the driving and the vehicle incidents. So I'm going to move to our health and safety goals for 2020, which was last year. So number 1 goal was 0 lost time injuries. So we did achieve this. We had no injuries, no lost time injuries. So thank you very much for that. And just a reminder on that we do have a return to work plan and policy for anybody that does get hurt on a ROC site. So we will offer any injured workers modified duties or whatever they're capable of until they do return to full duties. So just a reminder there. Our second goal for 2020 was reducing vehicle accidents with a focus on backing in vehicles. Unfortunately, we did have 4 backing incidents in 2020, resulting in property damage and a couple serious incidents on the roadway, including a fatal pedestrian accident. So we need to continue to keep focus on that. And another reminder to make sure that we have spotters when we're backing up. This seems to be a weakness in our performance. For 2020, our third goal was to achieve CORP. I think most of you know by now that we were successful in that. So thank you for helping us with that and participating in that. And we will be doing auditing on CORP every year. It's a requirement to do yearly auditing. So you'll continue to see that coming up on a regular basis annually. Our fourth goal in 2020 was to maintain 100% completion of this crane specific training for the individuals. So I think by now a lot of you have been contacted by either Rolf Simon or Chris Peters to do crane specific training. This is a requirement by the ministry for us to provide this and have documentation as such. So thank you very much for your continued participation in that. Our fifth goal for 2020 was to maintain 90% on our safety documentation, our weekly safety documentation, which is safety talks, site inspections, and jams. We did not achieve our goal of 90% minimum, and I'll leave this for Misty to talk about a little bit later in the presentation, some more detail on this. So those were our 2020 goals. Moving on to our goals for this coming year, which is 2021. We are going to have a goal, number one, again, of 0 lost time injuries. You'll see this come up year over year. This is going to be always a target of ours. So a reminder, with especially during COVID and stuff, to make sure that you're wearing all of your PPE, in this case, even including masks. And also to be careful with the winter weather conditions with slippery decks. Make sure your crane decks are clean from ice and snow, and make sure you're wearing proper footwear, and you apply salt where necessary. So just some reminders there. Our second goal for this coming year is our increased focus on safe driving. Again, this is going to be talked about a little bit later in the presentation, but this is an area where ROC could improve a little bit on performance on driving in general. So we have created new policies for both light commercial vehicles and heavy commercial vehicles. And you will see more focus and hear more focus on that as the year progresses here, but we're going to be focusing on unsafe driving habits and trying to get those corrected. Our third goal for this coming year is continued education of our supervisors, which again is something that we do annually. And this year we're targeting a site inspection. So I'll leave that for Greg to speak to a little bit further, again, further in the presentation. Our last and final goal for this coming year is to try to get better CVOR. So improving the company CVOR with the target of being less than 20%. So currently we're sitting just over 25%. So we're hoping to improve that goal. The CVOR performance for ROC is very, very important. Obviously, we got to be able to move up and down the roads. So that's key. So in wrapping up, with our current safety initiatives, including core daily risk assessments, weekly safety talks, and strong leadership, and a driven workforce, we're hopefully on the right path to continue our safety success and to reduce and eliminate all risks of injury on our work sites. So thank you for everybody for previous performance, and we look forward to a good performance in the future with regard to safety. So I'll pass you to Greg Horvath now, and he's going to talk a little bit more about site inspections.
Hello all, my name is Greg Horvath. I'm the management rep for the Health and Safety Committee, and I want to highlight a couple items regarding the committee. We as a committee meet quarterly. We complete site inspections annually of all your yards. We review any new issues and come up with corrective actions. If you have any safety concerns or safety suggestions, please reach out to myself or Devin Norman, who's the ROC worker rep. I will now review our 2021 safety goal for continual education, workplace inspections module on dunk. This coming year, ROC management chose a goal for continual education to be site inspections. We expect all employees to complete online dunk module, workplace inspections. In our annual core audit questionnaire, we ask workers, are you or any other worker involved in the inspection process? And secondly, how do you find out about inspection results? Most often with all trademark group of companies, these are the most poorly answered question. ROC expects all supervisors to complete monthly inspections on their job sites. This is a legal requirement, and ROC tracks to ensure we are completing the legislative requirements. For operators, a requirement for all workers is to report hazards immediately, and every worker has a right to refuse to work. We also expect operators to take part in the inspection process, which includes inspections and documentations of pre-trip inspection, Schedule 1, on your cranes and CVOR vehicles daily prior to leaving the yard. Also, once the operators are expected to complete crane logs properly prior to crane use. All workers must inspect their harness and fall protection equipment prior to use of working at heights. Along with above inspections, operators should inspect the rigging, ladders, and other tools, equipment used to complete their tasks. As well, operators should be inspecting the crane decks free from snow and ice and the surrounding site to ensure the location is safe and suitable ground conditions. Proximity to overhead hazards and other safety concerns are brought forward and resolved prior to going to work. Everyone at ROC must do their part to ensure that we are working safely in a safe environment at all times. Please do not walk past any hazard. If you see something unsafe, correct it immediately or red tape it off. Make others aware of the hazard. And now I'll pass it over to Kelly.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelly Turcott, and I will be completing the mobile devices in the workplace safety talk. There are many hazards associated with using your mobile while working, especially when operating or working around vehicles and equipment. If you're using a mobile device, it means that you're not paying full attention to the task at hand and the hazards that surround you. Struck by incidents are a common cause of injury and death on busy work sites with lots of moving vehicles and equipment. By limiting the use of mobile devices, workers will be less distracted and less likely to be struck by moving vehicles and equipment. In Canada and the United States, struck by incidents continue to be among the top 3 causes of injury and fatality on construction sites. Many of these incidents can be attributed to distractions, specifically the distractions caused by using mobile devices. The safety guidelines listed below will help protect workers from this type of injury. Do not use mobile devices on the work site unless authorized by your supervisor. This includes talking, texting, emailing, playing games, etc. Never use a mobile device while operating any equipment or when driving a vehicle. Wait until your lunch or rest break to use your mobile device for personal calls or other activities, and only use it as a designated safe work area, such as a job site trailer or break areas. Turn off your mobile device completely when working. The ringer may startle you or someone else in the area, or tempt you to answer the call, email, or text. Let calls go straight to voicemail. You can listen to them at a later time in a safe location. Never operate your mobile device near flammable fumes or liquid, or in a flammable environment. In an urgent personal matter, requires that you have already access to your mobile device. Work out a plan with your supervisor to do it safely. All workplace parties have some level of responsibility to make sure safety guidelines are put in place, communicated to all workers, and adhered to all times. As an employer, we are required to take every precaution reasonable under the circumstances for the protection of a worker. The OHSA and S25-2H. We have policies on the appropriate use of cell phones and mobile devices in our health and safety manual. Please review our policy if you have any questions on our expectations. 2.13.0, administration, mobile devices in the workplace. As a supervisor, you must be an example to the other workers. Don't take or make calls while directing activities on the work site. Limit your mobile device use to the trailer, site office, or designated safe work area away from general work activities. As a worker, you should know what our company's rules are and follow them at all times, as there have been many unfortunate stories of people walking into hazards, backing vehicles, unsafe conditions, open holes, as they were not focused on their surroundings due to talking or texting on their phone. Please stop in a safe location while making calls or texts, and do not use mobile devices while operating any machinery or driving a vehicle. If you have any questions, concerns, or would like to review any of the above information, please contact Craig McDonald at cmcdonald@tmi.ca or 519-591-4061. Thank you. Our next speaker will be Tom Strauss.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, my name is Tom Strauss, and I will be reviewing the changes to our motor vehicle policies. In the past couple of years, we have seen a negative trend in vehicle accidents in both severity and frequency. Although it is true we have more vehicles on the road and we are traveling overall more kilometers, we are also increasing our risk of injury and accidents with each kilometer driven. Due to the severity of our most recent accidents, we have been working closely with our insurance provider to modify our vehicle policies. The goal of these changes is to reduce our vehicle accidents and keep our fleet and other road users safe. Some of the changes we are making to our policies include: we will start pulling driver abstracts for new hires and annually for all drivers, modifying the definition of a high-risk driver, which will now factor in the number of minor and major convictions and total demerit points that appear on a driver's abstract. Defining when a driver is not permitted to operate a vehicle, which again will factor in minor and major convictions, demerit points, and any convictions in relation to impaired driving, license suspension, license termination, or an expired license. Evaluating a driver's performance, which includes accidents, speeding violations, and driving analytic reports. And we have developed a corrective action procedure to follow when workers exceed the new thresholds for driver performance, including email warnings, meetings with management, retraining, or losing driving privileges. We are also lowering the speed limit threshold for vehicles, light commercial vehicles, which are pickup trucks, will beep in the cab at 20 kilometers over the speed limit, and an email warning will be sent out to a driver at 30 kilometers over a speed limit. Heavy commercial trucks, which are CBOR registered vehicles, which applies to most of the cranes, will beep in the cab at 15 kilometers over the speed limit, and an email warning will be sent out at 20 kilometers over the speed limit. Drivers who continue to speed after warnings have been sent out will be subject to further discipline, including retraining or suspensions. The updated policies are available in our 2021 Health and Safety Manual. There will also be regular communication sent out throughout the year to remind everyone of the new changes. Please keep it a priority every day to drive safe, give enough time, slow down, and don't drive distracted. Thank you, and I will now pass it over to Mallory.
Thanks, Tom. Hi, I'm Mallory Lutzen, one of the health and safety coordinators at ROC, and I'm going to review CORP and ROC's CVOR. So just a brief overview of CORP for those of you who are new or unfamiliar with the program. It's basically a detailed audit of our health and safety program. It involves reviewing our policies, gathering documents, conducting site observations, and interviewing workers to verify that we're actually doing what our program says we do and that we're meeting legal requirements. CORP proves that we have an effective health and safety management system in place. It tells our constructors we won't have any issues or delays in work because of health and safety, and our risk for workplace accidents or injuries is much lower than a contractor who isn't CORP certified. We're seeing more and more municipalities and other constructors making CORP a requirement to do work on their job sites. So overall, in terms of ensuring your safety on the job, as well as opening up more work opportunities, CORP certification is extremely important, not only for ROC, but for you guys. So we successfully completed ROC's CORP external audit in July 2020. This was our initial certification, and to maintain our certification, an internal audit is required every year, and an external audit is again required every 3 years at that point. So we did receive a score of 95.48% on last year's audit, which is a great score. This year, as we make changes and work on our corrective action plan from the external audit, we hope to improve this score. So we will be starting our internal audit in the spring of 2021. Just some corrective actions that I wanted to review with everyone that came out of the 2020 audit include our JSAs. So we would still like to see these a bit more detailed with specific hazards present on site. Don't be afraid to add notes in the comment section beside the tasks and add hazards that aren't listed. If a new hazard becomes present throughout the day, please add this to your risk assessment, and in the comment section, add a note that this is new and the time that you entered it in. Please also let us know if there are regular job tasks that you perform that aren't on the risk assessment so we can get it added in. We want to be able to capture all areas of work in this document for you. Another one was the safer practice for use of ladders wasn't always being followed on job sites. So this was something specific the auditor observed when he conducted his site visits. We did purchase some rub rail ladders to be used for proper access and egress on the trucks. So make sure you are making use of those ladders to avoid a fall. And if you think that your vehicle is lacking an access or egress tool, please let us know so we can do something about that for you. Another one was the inspection procedure and checklist needs to be revised to include more office-specific hazards. So we will be making some changes to that form and the policy. And then another one was emergency drills. So they do want to see that we are carrying out drills periodically to test the effectiveness of the plan and that all employees fully understand it. And then, this is something that is difficult for us to do, and we did have discussions with the external auditor on this. So we are going to look into see how we can achieve this and improve on the audit throughout this year here. So there are a few other items on our corrective action plan that we will be working on this year to continually improve the health and safety at ROC. We will communicate these changes to you guys as they're made throughout the year. And I just wanted to thank everyone for their hard work and participation in our 2020 audit. We owe a lot of our success to you guys. Okay, so I'm now going to talk about our CVOR. So our CVOR is our commercial vehicle operator record with the MTO, and it is essentially an overview of our company's safety performance with them. So over the years, ROC has had a very good CVOR rating, typically keeping it under 15%. Now, just to clarify, this CVOR scoring is a little bit different from typical scoring we see, where 0% is actually the best you can do and 100% is the worst. So 15% was pretty good there. However, in the last year, rating has jumped up to 25.58%. So this is where things can get a bit scary with our rating, as it can increase quite quickly at this point. So if our score reaches 35%, we will be getting a warning letter from the MTO that we need to take action to ensure our score doesn't increase further. If we reach 50%, we'll be subject to an audit by the MTO, where they will look at hours of service logs, pre-trip inspections, driver files, maintenance records, and more to determine whether we should continue to operate under the CVOR. And this could also lead to tickets and fines to drivers and ROC should the auditor find non-compliance with certain areas. Like hours of service, pre-trip inspections, etc. So we don't want to get to that point. So we need to ensure that everyone is doing everything possible to avoid collisions, traffic tickets, and inspection defects from roadside inspections. These three areas are what contribute to increasing our CVOR rating score. A few key other areas to remember to regularly check up on that will reduce your risk for a ticket or infraction are ensuring your hours of service logs are accurate and that you're completing them daily. Ensure you've completed a thorough pre-trip inspection and have noted any defects. Ensure your loads are properly secured, and verify all documents such as permits, ownership, insurance, CVOR certificate, etc. are up to date and easily accessible. If you have any issues or concerns with any of these items, please don't hesitate to reach out to one of us in health and safety. We're happy to help. So thank you, and I'm now going to pass it off to Misty.
Thanks, Mallory. Hello, everyone. I'm one of the health and safety coordinators here at ROC. So today I'll be speaking to everyone about the safety paperwork performance, as well as our light and heavy commercial vehicle performance, okay? So the next few slides, we're just gonna talk about some of the geotab tracking. So basically what we do is every quarter we pull a driver analytics report, and we're looking at three areas for driving. We're looking at seatbelts, we're looking at speeding, and aggressive driving. So some of the aggressive driving habits that we are focusing on is hard acceleration, harsh braking, and hard cornering. So we review these every quarter, and then during management meetings for each quarter, this is also presented so that we can keep track of this. And in this chart, you can see aggressive driving violations from the first quarter to the fourth quarter of 2020. It's a comparison chart. So you can see in these charts how it's progressed through the year. And I know Dave touched a bit about this, but we did have a couple serious accidents. So we really do want to focus on improving our driving violations with ROC. So we'll move on to seatbelt violations. So again, this is a comparison chart for Q1 to Q4. So we did have seatbelt violations from Q1 to Q4. And we're going to continue to monitor this, as I said. So when we pull the driver and analytic reports, we'll focus on these areas and follow up with people individually if needed as well. Okay. Okay, and then in regards to speeding, again, speeding did occur through each quarter in 2020. This is obviously something we want to see decrease in 2021. So we will continue to monitor everyone's driving habits through the reports that we pull and follow up with anyone individually and report this information to managers during every quarterly meeting. Okay. So in regards to safety paperwork tracking, I have a chart that on the left is 2019 and then 2020. And I know in 2020, the goal was for paperwork to be 90% submission. So we didn't reach that goal consistently in 2020. But I think it's fair to say COVID probably threw everyone off because it's thrown everyone off. So basically with that, we want to keep our paperwork submissions 85% and up. So basically we're expecting a jam and a safety talk from each of the operators. And I track every 2 weeks. So we're behind every 2 weeks. So that kind of gives you an idea of when I'm tracking as well. How we kind of get these numbers is that I look at payroll reports, and from there I can see what day an operator works. So then I know that they're expected to complete a jam or a safety talk. And I have been reaching out recently and part of 2020 to operators in regards to paperwork if it hasn't been submitted consistently. So I'll continue to do that. And thank you to everyone who's reached out back to me and has talked to me about their safety paperwork. I appreciate that. And I'll pass you off to Craig MacDonald, our Health and Safety Manager. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Craig MacDonald, and I'll be speaking about COVID-19. So, as everyone's well aware, we've had a tough 2020 with the pandemic. ROC has created multiple items to aid in our protection on the sites with our workers. We have created a pandemic policy for COVID-19. This is available on your tablet in your health and safety manual. We've also created site procedures as well as head office procedures. We're also tracking possible work cases at each site and doing contact tracing anytime we have a worker become ill or contract the virus. We've also created multiple safety talks, bulletins, and posters company-wide. We've also made PPE readily available for all workers, including face masks, hand sanitizer, gloves, face shields, or any other PPE required. We also expect all workers to complete a daily questionnaire. That QR code that you see on the screen there, that's required to be completed daily. You can use the QR code, or you can also do a self-questionnaire through Field to Base on your tablets, which I know a couple of the operators complete daily. Or if you're at a customer's location and you have to complete one of their questionnaires daily, you can also do that. There are multiple different choices you can choose. We only need one per day, and that's required by the province and public health, that every worker goes into a work site, completes a daily questionnaire. At our head office, we're also completing temperature checks through a touchscreen system. We also have all workers coming to our head office complete a daily questionnaire through our tablet, as well as the temperature screening at the front reception. We also require all workers to be wearing masks at all times. That's required by public health and Ontario government, which came out a couple months ago. And the requirement is anytime you're at a work site, you're expected to be wearing your mask at all times. If you're within 6 feet of others, you need to wear a mask at all times. So when you're at your work site, at your customer's location, we expect to be wearing your mask at all times. You can take it off if you're in your cab of your vehicle by yourself, or if you're at your personal desk seated, you can remove your mask, as well as if you're having lunch or having a smoke. Now the expectation is if you're having lunches or smokes, we're continually auditing and finding that workers are not maintaining the 6 feet distance while they're having their lunches or smoking. The expectation is if you're taking your mask off and you're eating or smoking, you still have to maintain that 6 foot distance. So the expectation is if you are sick, please stay at home. Hopefully we've drilled this into enough workers over the past year. In previous years and over our span of our life, it was only a cold, come back to work, fight through it, you can do it. Unfortunately, with the virus, with COVID, we want everyone to stay home if they're not feeling well. The expectation is you complete that daily questionnaire, you be honest, If you're not feeling well, sore throat, fever, any one of the symptoms, now there's a long list. I can't name them all. Loss of taste, loss of smell, nausea, any one of these, we expect you to do the questionnaire. Reach out to your dispatcher, your supervisor, and let them know you're not feeling well. At that point, we would probably guide you to do the online public health questionnaire through public health and follow their direction. They will most likely recommend that if you have any of those symptoms, that you go take a COVID test. While you're waiting for that COVID test, please do not come back to work until you have your test results. If you receive a negative test, that's great, but we still want you to stay away until you're symptom-free for 24 hours without medication. So please, again, we don't want anyone sick with any type of symptoms at all. Your coworkers don't want that, and I'm sure you don't want your coworkers beside you sick with any symptoms. Throughout the whole event, please stay in contact with your supervisor as well as the health and safety team. Please contact myself if you have any questions or concerns. And again, if public health has deemed you to be positive, the expectation is you follow their recommendations. Most typically, if you have symptoms and are positive, you're required to stay home for 10 days, and then you're allowed to come back to work. You do not need a negative test, but you must stay away for 10 days and come back symptom-free. If you have any questions on this, please reach out to myself or anybody else on the safety team or your supervisor. I just want to let you know that we do have the Dunk online training. This is a training portal for workers complete training on. They can also see their certificates. Many times our workers are going to job sites, and the job sites are now requiring proof of certification for WMIS, trade certificate, and anything else they may require. We keep all of these certificates on the Dunk program. You should all be aware of your login and passwords. If you don't, please reach out. We can reset your password for yourselves, but you can see your own WMIS, as well as if your WMIS expires annually. You can also go online and do that from the cab of your vehicle on the tablet and refresh your WMIS. So that is required. Many times I'm receiving calls first thing in the morning from operators who aren't allowed to go on the job site until they prove they have WMIS. So please know your Dunk login. And also, you can also take a snapshot of your cards, keep it on your phone in case a customer wants to see it. You can easily provide the picture of your certification from your phone. Okay. Next, I'll speak on working at heights. Just this general reminder that we are expected to follow all requirements while working at heights. The expectation is that we are tied off while working over 10 feet. That's off crane, off the boom. If you're in a man lift, if you're at the customer's sites, the expectation is you're protected from falls. ROC has a zero tolerance policy for any of these type of violations, and as our customers do as well. So please ensure we are working safely at the job site. Obviously, not tying off has many consequences. In the past year, we've had many workers not working safely at our customers' locations at our different team member groups companies. We've been found on video at our customers' sites working at heights over 10 feet. Our customers actually found our workers working over at height without being tied off. So please ensure you and your coworkers are tied off when required. We've also been found not using the proper equipment. Please ensure that we're using all fall protection equipment for fall protection needs. We shouldn't be using any type of slings, come-alongs, chokers. Any type of rigging is not meant for fall protection. So please ensure you have the proper fall protection equipment on your crane that you need, whether that be a harness that is up to date, has been inspected, lanyards, retractables, anything you might need for your job. Please ensure you have it and it's in good condition. It also must be inspected prior to use. So we don't want rigging to be used for any fall protection. Okay. We also provide working edge training. This is a training required every 3 years. So it is a Chief Prevention Officer approved course that we complete at our head office. This past year has been difficult through COVID and they allowed a 1-year grace period from the 3-year refresher. So if workers had their certificate expire between March 1st, 2020 and August 31st, 2020, they had a 1-year exemption. That exemption is coming up, so we have to make sure that all of our workers have current working rights training card with them. If you don't, please again reach out to myself or your supervisor so we can plan to book you into an upcoming course. That course is a half-day course of 4 hours. Typically, we run those on Friday mornings at our head office, but if you're at satellite or different locations, we can set those up with other third-party providers, and those will be on different days. Again, if you want to be included or have up-to-date refresher training, contact myself at cmacdonald@tmi.ca. I will now pass this back to Russ for closing comments.
Hi again. So in closing, ROC Corp workers need to recognize and embrace the importance of working safely. Each worker must be committed to safety, act on it, and follow through with it in your everyday work life, on the road, and of course in your personal life. If there are any questions related to the material that was just presented or any other safety related issues, at any time you can email myself directly, any of our managers, or our safety team at safety@tmi.ca. ROC Corp management would like to thank you for continually working safely. Your completion of this module clearly signifies your commitment to health and safety in the workplace. Thank you and stay safe.